Hey Still Hearts, how you doing? This is Jada Lynn. Welcome to In the Raw. This is a channel where we sit and discuss narcissism, what it sounds like, what it looks like, and what is up close and personal in your face. All right, now y'all, so in this video, I'm going to discuss a topic that I seen on a platform, and they were talking about narcissism, and this one person asked, does a narcissist tell on themselves if you listen? Yes. The straight answer is yes, absolutely, 100%. Narcissists tell on themselves all the time. All you have to do is just sit and listen. Now, I would say it would help if you know right off the bat the red flags. But even if you don't know the red flags, you're gonna feel something, okay? And better than feeling something, if you heard what they said and then you go home and you reflect later on and you be like, that's just weird. And then you later learn about the red flags, then you can pinpoint at, that conversation. Oh my goodness, I think he was lying because he did just that, or she did this, just that. So it would be like that. So yes, absolutely. All you have to do is just listen, because most of the time when they say their classic line, oh, that happened to my friend. Oh, I got a friend that did X, Y, and Z. That's their classic line. When they say things like that, I would have to say 99% they are talking about themselves. And the best way that you can, confirm that is after they say what it is that they said about their friend. Because if it happened to their friend, they wouldn't be doing any of the things. So pay attention to what it is that they say about their friends, and then pay attention to their actions afterwards. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not directly afterwards, but maybe like a day, the next day, pay attention to what they do. And then pay attention to them the second day, pay attention to for the whole week. Just pay attention, because at the end of the day, a narcissist lies so doggone much, they manipulate so doggone much, and they sit up here and they tell you, my friend did this or this happened to my friend, and then they turn around and then 2-3 days later, they end up doing the same exact thing that they said that their friend did. You hear what I mean? So just pay attention. Look at what it is that they doing. Listen, pay attention, go home, reflect. You hear what I mean? And watch them for the next couple of days, or 2 or 3. Like, do you hear what I mean? Just watch them, because they end up telling on themselves. I can promise you that, okay? But why do they do this? Because their ego is fragile. Their ego is sitting in the front seat, driving them into all of this drama and BS and stuff. Their ego is making them do this and do that and do this and do that. Their ego is so fragile that if they was to say, I did X, Y, and Z, I did that, I said this, I said that, they wouldn't be able to handle your criticism, what you say back to them. They wouldn't be able to take it. They probably would go walk down the lonely highway all by themselves. They would feel so sad and lonely. Oh my goodness. It would be like, it would be one of those moments. It would be like, oh my goodness, are you kidding me? They are so fragile, it ain't even fun. Like you would think, because they like so mean, so outwardly egotistical, that you would think a person like that would have the thickest, toughest skin, but they have the most delicate, softest skin ever. Okay, so it's and the only way that they gonna tell the truth is if they blame it on somebody else. Now you can check out my video. I have a video about blame shifting, and you can also check out the smear campaign video, because the smear campaign talks about blame shifting in a sense. When you smear campaign someone's name, they're trading places with you. The narcissist is making themselves look like you and you look like them. That's the picture that they're painting to the community, so that they hate you and that they love them. Do you hear what I mean? And then blame shifting just goes into talking about how they shift the blame. They shift the blame from themselves and on to you. So and they're switching the narratives. But one is just, I think blame shifting is more personal and smear campaign is more community wise. So, but still, look at both those videos, and don't just look at mine. Look at everybody else's videos, because you want to understand what's going on, you know, like with these red flags and stuff. You want to understand what the deal is. So, but that is the main thing. Yes, they tell on themselves all the time, and they just cannot take accountability for what they done did. They can't take accountability for their actions. They refuse to. And the only way that they can tell the truth is if they blame it on somebody else, because they know that their ego is way too fragile to listen to any kind of criticism or take any kind of accountability. They don't want to hear what they did. They don't want to hear it, because it probably takes them back to a childhood wound of what happened to them when they were baby narcs, or in the making, under the roof with their mom and dad, or maybe their grandmother, or maybe whoever it is that was narcissistic in there and that was raising them. So just pay attention to that. So, but I want to give you an example. I was out on a date with my ex-fiance, and my ex-fiance was a covert narcissist. And check out my video on covert narcissists, because I explained to you what a covert narcissist is. But my ex-fiance and I was out on a date. And while we were out on a date, we saw one of his friends walk up. But one of his friends came in there, and he wasn't with his significant other. And I'm sitting up here looking like, who is she? And he was just, don't say that. But hold up, who is that? And we knew that his significant other was out on a business trip, but he brought this lady with him. And she was not a friend. She was not a cousin. She was not a family member. She was not anything. She was anything but that. You can look at them and tell that they were lovey-dovey. They were touching it up. They were sitting too close to each other. They were standing too close to each other. They were looking at each other too long. They was just, you could just tell, when somebody is, being intimate with each other. And that's just what it was. And I was like, well, who the heck is that, or whatever? But my ex-fiance was like, don't say that or whatever. But I didn't. And that ended up opening up a conversation between my ex-fiance and I. And he was talking about, I had a friend, and there you go with that famous classic line. I have a friend that fell in love with a woman, with two women at the same time. And he couldn't make a decision. He didn't know what to do. I was like, he didn't know what to do. And so he was like, yeah, he didn't know what to do. And this is around about the time where I'm already suspecting that my ex-fiance, the narc, is cheating on me. But I didn't have any proof. I just felt it. And it's the same way. And I'm not going to sit up here and say woman's intuition, because it's not just woman's intuition. If it's a man who is putting his all into this woman because he loves her, he's going to get the feeling that something ain't right either, because you just feel it and you just know it. So I'm sitting up here and I'm just listening to this man talk about how his friend fell in love with two women and didn't know what to do. And I'm just sitting up here like, you didn't know what to do. So he was like, I don't know, he just didn't know what to do. And I was paying attention to certain things that he was doing. I was paying attention to how defensive he was getting. I was paying attention to his pitch. I was paying attention to his body language. And what I noticed was, as he was talking, I asked him the question, how do you fall in love with two women at the same time? And how did he not know what to do? And he just sat there and was like, I mean, well, he fell in love with two women at the same time. What was he supposed to do? What was he supposed to do? I mean, he didn't know what he was supposed to do, so he couldn't make a decision. And when I'm sitting up here listening to this answer, and I'm already suspecting the fact that my ex-fiance is cheating on me, but I just really didn't have proof. But when he reacted like that, when that was his response, it made me look at him a little differently, because I'm sitting up here like, you sound like you taking this a little bit, personal. Like, this is, number one, he was getting defensive, even though we were in a restaurant. He wasn't getting loud and outraged, but he was definitely getting defensive, as I just showed you. His shoulders was rising, his pitch was rising, and it was like, wait a minute, if I'm thinking in my head, if this had nothing to do with him, if this wasn't him, I would expect more of an answer, more like, listen, I don't know, that ain't got nothing to do with me. I ain't got nothing to do with that. That would have been a little bit more appropriate. But getting this, I mean, what was he supposed to do? I mean, he didn't know what he was supposed to do. That sounds a little bit more like, that's you. That's you, because you're a little bit too involved. You're a little bit too emotionally involved. That's a different answer that would make you think otherwise. I mean, it most certainly made me think otherwise, but that made me get a little bit more, or pay a little bit more close attention to maybe my intuition is right. Maybe what I'm feeling is right. Maybe what it is that he's saying, or what I'm feeling is legit. I don't have any proof at the moment that he's cheating, but I feel like he's cheating because he says certain things, or he does certain things, as like this one, that makes me feel like he's cheating. But I don't have any proof, or solid proof, to prove that he is cheating. At the moment, I didn't. And so that's just what it is. But my main thing for this whole video, pay attention. Yes, they tell on themselves all the time. Narcissists end up, their manipulation game, their gaslighting game is so freaking tight. And if you can just do some education and learn about manipulation, learn about gaslighting and how it works. Look at every video on YouTube about gaslighting and manipulation. Look at all of these tactics, manipulation tactics, gaslighting tactics, how a person gaslights you, how they do this to get what they want. Pay attention. Look at these videos. I am an advocate when it comes down to education, because I feel like knowledge is power. I know that sounds cliche. I know it sounds whack, but it is power. When you move differently when you know better. You do better when you know better. Do you hear what I mean? You just make better decisions. You do better things, and you start moving differently. Like your moves start becoming a little bit more calculated because you're on to them. Do you hear what I mean? And I'm gonna make a video about that. When a narcissist can tell that you are on to them. Or I'm gonna make a video about that, because they can tell that too. And you have to be careful with that. When you are on to them, you gotta be careful not to let them know that you are on to them, because that's when they start switching up their story, or they start switching up their strategic plan. They get a little bit more strategic because they know that you know now. Do you hear what I'm saying? So I'm gonna make a video about that, because there were certain things that I had to do to make sure that I can get away, or go no contact, and get them as far away as I could from me. I had to be a little bit strategic, but I had to act like I didn't know that I knew what they were doing. Do you hear what I'm saying? So that's just this video. I just want to come on here and just discuss that, because I saw that topic on a platform, and this person was asking, can you tell? I mean, it does a narc tell on themselves if you just listen? Yes, please, just listen. The narcissist shoots themselves in the foot all the freaking time. How the heck you gonna sit up here and say, my friend, the classic line, my friend, I got a friend that this happened to, or my friend did X, Y, and Z, and then 2-3 days later you get caught doing the same thing that you said your friend just did. Like, come on, nah. You talking about yourself. That is what I'm trying to get to you in this video. Pay attention to their actions after they talk about their friend. Do you hear what I'm saying? Pay attention. All right. And I'm going to get myself on out of here because I be making these long behind videos. I swear that I be trying to make these short behind videos and I can't make no video because I got so much to say, boo. Y'all my still hearts, man. I be got stuff to say up in here. All right. Now, so let me get on. I'm going to go on about my business. Y'all have a blessed day. All right. Bye.